Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is episode 124 of the American Reveille Podcast. And on this episode, we talk about a hypocritical United States of America, a system, a world, a tale, you could say, of two justice systems, a justice system for the left and a justice system for the right. Ashli Babbitt gets shot in the head. All right. No weapon. What she was doing at the time was illegal. She did deserve to be charged for the trespassing. All right. You could say storming, though nobody had any weapons. But she was shot in the head. Officer not charged. Investigation dropped. All right. Daunte Wright was shot resisting arrest. Stopped. Police officers knew he had a warrant for aggravated robbery, apparently breaking into a home and holding a woman at gunpoint for money. So they knew he was dangerous. And a negligent officer who deserved to be charged pulled out what she thought was a taser and shot him and killed him. She's charged. Rightfully so. So should this officer. He should be the one that killed Ashli Babbitt. Why isn't he charged? Because we're living in two separate United States of America. We're going to talk about that. Tucker Carlson put out a fantastic article. We're going to use that as a basis. We're going to go through it next on the American Reveille Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, broke neck James Lane here with the American Reveille Podcast, episode 124, A Tale of Two Justice Systems. This ridiculous nonsense of the unfair, oppressive treatment towards the right and the unending free tickets out of jail, free tickets out of responsibility, free tickets out of any hardship, free tickets out of any responsibility or accountability that the left seems to hand to their own clan like hotcakes. The right is paying the price and the left is living in the palace, ladies and gentlemen. Do me a favor. Are you stressed out like I am? Check out Ancient Life Oil. It's CBD oil, and it's fantastic. It's THC free, doesn't get you high, but it does take down the stress levels and the anxiety. You see me like this? I've been using Ancient Life Oil. If I'm not like this, I'm like punching freaking. Well, I basically what I do is I go and I build a doll that looks like a person, and I do it out of wood, and then I punch the wood like Kill Bill, like the movie Kill Bill, and I just go ha-pa, ha-pa, ha-pa. When I think about the left and what they're doing, no, I don't do any of that. I'm making all of that up. And actually, it wasn't that funny. I had to stop it where it was because the joke was slightly humorous, and then the diminishing returns were too great. I felt it, and I had to just let it go, let the joke go before it blows. Tucker Carlson, ladies and gentlemen. Tucker Carlson has nothing to do with what I'm going to tell you here. Go to ancientlifeoil.com. ancientlifeoil.com. Check out the CBD oil they sell. I highly recommend it. All right, guys. And if you use promo code James, you get free shipping and handling. I wouldn't steer you wrong. Ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com. And stick around for 2 minutes. Same old routine right after this episode. If you haven't seen it, I put a little ad together about Ancient Life Oil, and it'll steer you right towards what you should be doing, which is going to ancientlifeoil.com, using promo code James and getting yourself some sweet free shipping and handling on my namesake, ladies and gentlemen. Do me that favor. They sponsor the show. They're a really good product, and supporting them supports me. I really appreciate it, guys. So Tucker Carlson put out this article. It's a fantastic article. I figured a great place to start would be to go through this. All right. So Tucker Carlson, America is now one nation with two very different justice systems. And don't mind me, by the way, my neck is still screwed up. All right. It's screwed the hell up. I have this inflatable freaking neck traction device on. I can barely look straight at the camera. I feel like a turtle. I really feel like a turtle, not a Mitch McConnell turtle, because he's ridiculous. I'm like a snapping turtle, like a real powerful, like hard-shelled, sharp-beaked, masculine, testosterone-filled snapping turtle. but it's still a turtle because, my neck's all stupid looking. So I'm a turtle now. Tucker Carlson. America is now one nation with two very different justice systems. This doesn't give you any right to send me pizzas. I don't need that much carbs in my life. All right, guys? So don't send me pizzas. All right? I repeat, wink. Don't send me pizzas just because I look like a Ninja Turtle. Tucker Carlson. Let's get to it. Stop. You guys keep stalling me. All right? Stop. Hey, shh. Listen, Tucker Carlson, America is now one nation with two very different justice systems. The people in power crack down on the enemies and give their allies a soft landing. That's a much better way. Tucker's probably a better writer than me. So that's a much nicer way of saying all the ridiculousness that I just said in one sentence. All right. The people in power crack down on the enemies and give the allies the soft landing. This is by Tucker Carlson. Let's read. The ironically named Civil Rights Division of the Biden Justice Department announced Wednesday there will be no charges brought against the man who shot and killed protester Ashli Babbitt in the Capitol back in January. No one who pays attention was surprised to hear this, and I wasn't. I wasn't surprised. I'm disappointed, all right? I'm frustrated, but I don't expect anything less than this from our government at this point. In cases like this, the benefit of the doubt usually does go to law enforcement, all right? And as we've often said, we're fine with that. It should, but still, in a free society, the rest of us have a right to know roughly what happened. In this case, who shot Ashli Babbitt and why? All right. No one will tell us. The Biden administration says the man who killed Babbitt is a Capitol Hill police officer and he did the right thing. That's all they've said. We know that Ashli Babbitt was short, a female, and unarmed. There's no evidence the officer who killed her gave any kind of verbal warning before he pulled the trigger. Is that standard procedure? We'd imagine the rules of engagement for federal agents limited the use of deadly force to situations where law enforcement has reasons to believe they or the people around them are in imminent danger of being harmed. You can't just shoot people without warning because they're in the wrong place. That's not allowed, except now, apparently, it is allowed. So when did these rules change? And once again, who exactly shot Ashli Babbitt? Journalists exist to ask questions like these, but they're not asking those questions, are they, folks? The Washington Post wrote a long story about the Department of Justice's announcement in the case and never raised a single one of these questions. The Post didn't name the shooter or even acknowledge that the government is withholding his name. Quote, authorities determined that there was insufficient evidence to prove Babbitt's civil rights were violated, the Post declared. That was it. The rest of the piece was a personal attack on Ashli Babbitt and her political views. She deserved to die. That was the point of the Washington Post story. And I know when Ashli Babbitt's civil rights were violated, and you know when her rights were violated, and the officer who did this knows when her rights were violated. Everybody knows in their heart when her rights were violated. Her rights were violated when she, as a misguided, unarmed American, went through a window, all right, unarmed, tiny woman, and got shot in the face. That's when her civil rights, just in case you were wondering, DOJ, so you could continue the case that you shut down. All right. I solved the puzzle for you. Her civil rights were violated when she was shot in the face. You can go back to prosecuting now. All right. How amazing. I'm reading again. How amazing. I have to read again. I have to decompress before I hyperventilate. How amazing to read something like this, especially now. 1,100 miles from Washington in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, a police officer accidentally reached for her gun instead of a taser and killed a man called Daunte Wright. It was a tragedy, as all shootings are. But we know that officer's name because every news organization in the country printed it immediately. She has now resigned and is facing charges. Her mugshot is all over the internet. 2 nights ago, a mob showed up at her house, forcing her to flee. And I even said, all right, in a previous podcast that I did, I even said she must be terrified. Her family must be terrified. All right. She was criminally negligent, right? She should know what a taser and a gun is. She should be charged, and she was charged. But she doesn't deserve to be terrorized and to live in fear. She deserves what our legal system affords every American: due process. Oh, but remember, if you say that, you get fired. If you say that, you get fired. All right? She's not the only one. Late August, a police officer in Kenosha, Washington, shot a man called Jacob Blake. Remember that? Riots erupted immediately. Yesterday, that officer was cleared of all charges. By the way, guys, if you didn't know, Jacob Blake, cleared of all charges. Woo! When that story broke, NPR put that police officer's name and photograph on the front of their website. So that's the standard. Except in this case, where they're all hiding the identity of the man who shot Ashli Babbitt, right? Sensing a theme here? The standards that big news organizations use to cover shootings depend entirely on the political views of the people who get shot. When the Washington Post doesn't like the candidates you vote for, they suppress the details of the case. In the case of Ashli Babbitt, we'd know next to nothing about how she died, and we wouldn't know anything if her shooting hadn't been captured on video by people who don't work at the Washington Post. All right, and it's the same hypocritical stuff that's going around everywhere. It's going around everywhere, right? Look at how they twist narratives all the time. They say white people are committing Asian hate crimes. And then you look and the number one hate crime coming out of the San Francisco Bay is black on Asian hate crimes, right? They say that police officers are more likely to kill black people than white people. But then you look at the statistic numbers and you see, oh, they twisted one of the statistics. And the number of white people that get killed is still greater. All right. It doesn't mean that anybody's death is warranted. All right. It's only warranted in a situation where, I don't know, for example, you grab somebody's taser and fire it back at them and the police officer has to shoot back to defend themselves. You know, that's a thing. We all know about that story. But at the same time, you know, it's just difficult. It's very, very difficult because there's just a very hypocritical, two-sided wall here. And it feels like that wall is so high that you just can't climb over. It feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. It feels like you can't breathe. Every single person, you know, they say, oh, I can't breathe for George Floyd, right? A guy that had fentanyl and meth. He had a speedball in his system. He had heart failure in his system. You've been watching the evidence come out of the trial, right? Chauvin's no saint either, but neither was Floyd. So they say, oh, he can't breathe. Well, none of us can breathe. We're all being choked right now. We're all being choked out of being able to just relax and be Americans together. We're being forced up against a wall. We're being held hostage by this ideology, this woke, disgusting plague. And that is why we're splitting into two separate nations, because half this country don't want to deal with this shit. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Go be woke on Woke Island. All right. With Wokezilla and Wokerella. I can't. Sensing a theme here? The standards that big news organizations use to cover shootings depend entirely on the political views of the people who get shot. When the Washington Post does not like the candidate you vote for, they suppress the details of the case. In the case of Ashli Babbitt, we'd know next to nothing about how she died, and we wouldn't know anything if her shooting hadn't been captured on video by people who don't work on the Washington Post, at the Washington Post. Of course, I know I read that already, but I'm reading it again for emphasis and to tell you another thing. A lot of those videos were by people that weren't even on the right. I know, right? I might get this video pulled for saying that, but it's the truth. We found that out the hard way. There were Antifa there. There were people there that were activists, were anarchists, pretending to be right-wingers, taking video, getting paid tens of thousands of dollars for that video. One of those people is a video editor from Texas called Samuel Montoya. All right, Montoya. It says Montoya. I'm going to think it's Montoya. Yes, there it is, because it says Montoya. All right, hey, I got to try to be slick about this because I don't want to offend Tucker Carlson, so I'm going to whisper so none of you can hear this, all right? So earmuffs, everybody. Hey, Tucker, you have a typo, okay? It says Montoya instead of Montoya. You could do better than that. Anyway, None of you heard that, right? Good. Montoya was in the U.S. Capitol that day. Montoya doesn't look like a white supremacist, and he's got no criminal history that we're aware of. And on January 6th, though, Samuel Montoya took what may be the clearest video of Ashli Babbitt's death. And when you watch the video, there's a lot of things to notice. Ashli Babbitt had no weapon. She wasn't attacking anyone. She couldn't attack anyone because she was climbing through a window at the moment she was shot. That means she was posing no threat. What's most striking is that several Capitol Hill officers in paramilitary gear were standing directly behind Babbitt when she was killed. They were carrying what Joe Biden refers to as weapons of war, loaded AR-15s. You know, the thing he's trying to ban and take away from everybody. So tell us again how Ashli Babbitt posed an imminent threat, an imminent physical threat to anyone when she was shot. She didn't. Samuel Montoya's footage proves it. And we're grateful we have that tape. If we didn't, the New York Times would be telling us that Ashli Babbitt was beating people to death with a fire extinguisher when she was killed. Thanks to Samuel Montoya, the New York Times can't claim that. Tucker Carlson, you write exactly like you talk. I can hear you talking when I'm reading what you wrote. I really can. Hold on. Excuse me, guys. I had to take a drink of this water here. I was dying. He sounds exactly like he writes. All right, I'm gonna do my best to follow his cadence when I read this. We'd love to have Montoya on Tucker Carlson tonight to describe what he saw that day, but we can't do that because he's in jail. Yesterday, a large group of armed federal agents showed up at his house in Austin. They smashed Montoya's front door, confiscated his electronic devices, and threw him in jail. He's behind bars right now. What was his crime? I can't do a Tucker Carlson. But they busted into his house, took all of his stuff. Well, to find out, we read the Biden administration's arrest warrant, all right? The FBI says it began investigating Montoya after one of his family members provided proof that Montoya was physically inside the U.S. Capitol near the shooting of a woman on January 6, 2021. To be clear, Montoya didn't shoot the woman. He just happened to be near her, just standing there. But wait a second. That's nice, right? By the way, a member of his family sold him out like that. Weren't there plenty of journalists inside the Capitol on the 6th? According to CNN, yes, there were. CNN ran a piece telling us that congressional reporters became the country's eyes and ears as rioters stormed Capitol Hill. So why hasn't the FBI arrested the people CNN identified in its story? The photographers from Getty, the political reporters from NBC, the congressional correspondents from CNN and the Associated Press. Well, that's a good question. The FBI they explains why the warrant. They explain why in the warrant affidavit. It says, at times during the video, Montoya describes himself to others in the Capitol as a reporter or journalist as he attempts to get through the crowds. And yet the FBI includes the director of the congressional press galleries within the Senate press office did a name check on Samuel Christopher Montoya and confirmed that no one by that name has congressional press credentials as an individual or via any other organization, right? So that's the standard. If you don't have a job with the approved press, the Soviet-style press that the White House runs, the Congress runs, Capitol Hill runs, then you're not actually a journalist. There's no more citizen journalists allowed. All right, let's read this. So that's the standard. If the U.S. Congress's credentialing office says that you're not a journalist, well, you're not a journalist. Did Samuel Montoya have strong personal political views? Well, apparently he did, but you may have noticed that not so unusual in journalism right now at all. It's not. It really isn't. Every journalist seems to be politically biased. So why is journalist Samuel Montoya behind bars right now? Well, he committed a crime, interfering with government business, in other words, trespassing. If this happened in the Ukraine, what are the chances NBC News would describe Samuel Montoya as a dissident journalist and then describe Ashli Babbitt as an unarmed pro-democracy demonstrator? The chances are roughly 100%. But this is America, and they're not saying that. Instead, they're telling us that Ashli Babbitt deserved to die, which I and 80 plus million Americans don't believe. This is really frustrating, isn't it? What does this say here? Joy Reid, MSNBC. This is from Joy Reid, guys. She embraced conspiracy theories. Her name was Ashli Babbitt. She was 35 years old. She tweeted about Pizzagate. She tweeted thousands of tweets to Fox News hosts. She engaged on social media with conspiracy news internet site InfoWars. In 2020, she began to tweet with QAnon accounts. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. I've tweeted about Pizzagate. Right? I've talked about it on Parler. I've tweeted about Fox hosts. I've looked at Infowars.com so I could hear Alex Jones rant because he makes me laugh. Right? I got into QAnon for a little while until I realized they kept moving the goalposts and it was nonsense in a lot of ways. So we moved on from that. We learned our lessons and we became more independent. We became more of a coalition of patriots on the right, and we started working together towards realistic goals, not following what conspiracies are out there, but following what we know in our heart to be true, that the left is corrupt and that they need to be spoken out against and that our civil rights are at jeopardy. That's the truth. So are we all deserving to die? All 80 plus million of us? Do we all deserve to die? Because according to Joy Reid, many of us do. Many of us do. It's scary. Whew, OC, not a pro-democracy demonstrator, not an unarmed military veteran. She sent tweets to Fox News hosts. No problem. Ashli Babbitt got what she deserved, right? That's what Joy Reid had to say. What's amazing is not simply the grotesque cruelty of assessments like that. A young woman is shot to death and the media applaud. But what's more amazing is the contrast between this and the coverage of other violence that's now in progress. Tuesday night, Biden voters burned a police building in Portland, Oregon. Did you know that? Probably not. It didn't get much coverage. I knew that. A lot of you know that. But for those who didn't know it, yeah, they successfully did burn a courthouse. People were in that courthouse, guys. They were in that courthouse. In the wake of Daunte Wright's death Sunday, riots broke out all over the country, in New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Minneapolis. Nobody was told that. I told my mom about that earlier today. She barely believed me. People were stealing stuff off store shelves, but don't call it looting. It's peaceful demonstration. If you guys, by the way, go and watch episode 122, I think it was the Daunte Wright one that I did. I played all kinds of rioting videos that not a lot of places showed. So go check out that podcast. You'll see them. All right. People, they were stealing stuff off the shelves. All right. It was a peaceful demonstration, they said. We don't know because the mayor of Brooklyn Center, Mike Elliott, told us, It says people were stealing stuff off store shelves. I got all thrown backwards. People were stealing stuff off store shelves, but don't call it looting. It's a peaceful demonstration. We know that because the mayor of Brooklyn Center, Mike Elliott, told us so. Tuesday night, Mayor Elliott tweeted a picture of himself on the scene. Earlier this evening, I had an opportunity to talk to the peaceful protesters, he wrote. Our city is calm now. Here's the funny thing. The mayor's wearing a Kevlar helmet in the picture, which was not taken in Syria, but in his own town. That's how peaceful it is. He's wearing a Kevlar helmet. Whatever else he is, Mike Elliott is not an effective liar. And that's very true, because Brooklyn Center's been on fire for 4 nights now, guys. 4 riots for 4 nights. Others, by contrast, have decided to drop the pretense entirely. BLM leader Bree Newsom no longer talks about peaceful protests. She doesn't want those anymore. Quote, I'm definitely in the camp of defending rioting and looting as a legitimate, politically informed response to state violence, she wrote in a tweet that Twitter censors have left up. You see that? You see that? She can literally, one of the leaders of BLM can agree with looting and rioting and hurting people. That gets put up. But anybody on the right can post anything barely close to that. We get banned for life. This is a double standard. It just goes more and more to prove the split, the double world we're about to be living in, that we're already merging away from, we're already splitting apart. The atom is splitting. We're already creating 2 separate economies, setting up a recipe for 2 powder kegs. It's really not a good thing, but we are on that path, ladies and gentlemen. It goes without saying that Bree Newsom, I think it's Newsom, Nesselsom, whatever, is a child of privilege. Only privileged people could be that decadent. What's really striking is that Newsom once committed a more aggressive version of that offense that Samuel Montoya is charged with. A few years ago, she trespassed at the Capitol in South Carolina. She ripped down a flag. She also trespassed in a state lawmaker's office. She refused to leave. Is she rotting in jail? No. She was arrested briefly, then drew praise from no less than Hillary Clinton herself. Hillary endorsed that particular insurrection, but not everyone gets that same treatment, you may have noticed, and that's the double standard. You see that? She doesn't get any of the problems that Samuel Montoya gets. He's rotting in jail right now. She's privileged. She's getting special benefits. It seems you have to be on the right team to benefit for standing up for what's right in this country. If you go against the narrative, they lock you up, throw away the keys, ladies and gentlemen. No good at all, folks. No bueno. It's pissing a lot of people off. That should worry you. No matter who you voted for, no matter how fervently you may support Joe Biden. This is a huge society-ending problem. Laws have no meaning if they're not applied equally. When they're not applied equally, and they're not even laws, they're just tools of political persecution. You don't want to live in a country like that, even if the people you don't like are the ones being persecuted. Rashida Tlaib doesn't want to live like that. Tlaib is a member of Congress, so her security is never in doubt. She's protected by bodyguards, weapons of war, and now thousands of federal troops you're paying for. She's fine, but in your neighborhood, she'd like to see police eliminated. And you all saw her talk about that the other day. You saw her. She tweeted some horrible stuff. And I actually agree with her at this point. All right. And I'll tell you about that in a second. Let's hear what she said. She said, quote, "No more policing, incarceration, and militarization. It can't be reformed." Again, militarization is fine if the military is protecting her. She has federal troops, but not for you. No, my friends, you get mob rule. We're not making this up. We're not misquoting her. She is demanding this in public as a member of Congress. Many are. A character on MSNBC tells us that we must abolish your police department immediately. This is from Jason Johnson. I've been saying we need to abolish American policing as it currently exists. It doesn't work. Do you know the average number of homicides that are solved by police departments? 35%. Do you know the number of rapes and sexual assaults that are solved by police departments? Less than 60%. Do you know the percentage of likelihood of being shot as an unarmed black man? It's like 5 times as likely as a white person. Policing doesn't work the way we're doing it right now. That's a lie. What he's saying is a lie. Police are underfunded. This whole thing is BS. And I'm getting to a point that I think a lot of you are getting to a point of. You know what, Rashida Tlaib? You know what, Jason Johnson? You know what, woke lefties? Abolish the police. Go right ahead. See what happens. I mean, really, because the police are the only thing that are stopping people from stopping what's happening right now. People are sitting at home hoping and praying that they don't have to stand up for themselves because they at least have police and local governments that care about them enough to protect them. And as soon as people don't feel like they're protected, they're going to naturally and instinctually start protecting themselves. And it's not going to go the way you think it is. The socialist utopia never happens. It never comes true. Pick up a friggin' book. I have a book right here for you. It's called The Gulag Archipelago, Rashida. You should try it sometime. It might give you a hint to what happens when you try to restart the whole thing and then your stormtroopers take over. Because when your community police step in, yeah, we all know where it goes from there. I could go on a whole rant about this. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. All right. Look, let's read this right here. It says, here's how. All right. It says they want to abolish American policing as it currently exists. It raised the question, how does policing currently exist? Here is how. Local communities control it. Right? So the cops walking down your street, you hired them. That's what Rashida Tlaib doesn't like. That's what offends MSNBC. The thing they hate is that they don't control it. It's not federal. They can't use your local police department to punish you for your political views. They can't use it like a military force. For that, they have to go to the FBI, and it drives them Crazy. They want more power, folks. They want personal armies, folks. Abolishing the police doesn't mean getting rid of people with guns. It merely and specifically means stripping you of any control over local law enforcement. It's just a more ambitious form of gun control meant to dismember the citizenry, not protect them. When your police department answers to them, things will be very different. All right? To get a sense of how different, take a look at what the Biden administration is doing in the state of Oregon. In the past few days, federal prosecutors have essentially dropped half a dozen federal felony cases that arose from the riots in Portland last summer. The feds reached non-prosecution agreements, which ensure that people who committed felonies will walk away with no criminal record of any kind. Why? Why would the government wipe the criminal record of the people who rioted in Portland? You have to ask yourself, what is the bigger picture? What are they planning? What is the outcome? Why are they doing this? What is the cause and effect? Is this going to cause something different to happen? Is there a reason? Are we being misdirected? What is the bigger picture, right? What is the bigger picture? They want to abolish the police. I say, fine, let's abolish the police. Let's get rid of all of them, since they're the only thing keeping us safe, and people will take it into their own hands, and then the fight will happen. But the fight won't happen, will it? Because there will be police. They just won't be local. They'll abolish local police, and then they'll have their own stormtrooper force. Ladies and gentlemen, their own stormtrooper force. What are the defendants in Oregon accused of doing? Trespassing? More than trespassing? One of them, a woman called Alexandra Uton, she was charged with beating a Portland officer in the head with a wooden shield while he was trying to arrest her. Another defendant called Alexa Darren Graham, she was charged with trying to bring down a police aircraft with a laser pointer. Now, that's bad, obviously, but it's not quite as bad as, say, voting for Donald Trump or walking around the Capitol building with a camera, is it? Alexandra Uton and Alexa Graham wouldn't have a criminal record by the end of this. Samuel Montoya could spend the next 7 years in jail. You see what's going on? Two systems of justice, folks. One for the allies of people in charge, and a very different one for their enemies. These aren't traditional liberals. They're not calling for a peaceful utopia where no one uses violence. This isn't the tradition of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. That was old liberalism. We used to make fun of it when it was going on, but now we could use a lot more of it, because this stuff that we're going through, this stuff is scary. I know I didn't put a lot of extra on top of it, but that Tucker Carlson article was really, really on point. And so I tried to keep it as close to what he said as possible without adding too much of my own flavor to it. I don't think Tucker needs any of my flavor. Trust me. He's got plenty of his own, making plenty of money doing his own gig. But I'll tell you what, this is absolutely on the head. The nail's right on the head. It's absolutely true. It shouldn't be surprising to any of you. It shouldn't be surprising to any of you at all. So where do we stand? Where do we stand right now? Well, it's far bigger than what we think it is. But this is just another branch of the tree. This is just another arm of what's happening. All right? You got Kim Potter, police officer. She's arrested for shooting Daunte Wright. Daunte Wright wasn't a good person. All right. He deserved to be arrested. He deserved to go to prison. We could argue that he might have gotten shot in some other instance down the road. But at that moment in time, based upon our American legal system, Daunte did not deserve to die. So she deserves to be arrested and charged. That's correct. Should people be rioting and burning cities over that? No, they shouldn't, because everything that was supposed to happen happened. That was done properly. All right. Was the arrest and all that and the accidental? No, it wasn't. But everything afterwards was, all right, police officers being held accountable now, aren't they? They are. All right. And the narrative hasn't been twisted, at least by the right. The left, maybe. The left says he's a good boy. Not a good boy at all. While on the other hand, the only thing that Ashli Babbitt was guilty of was going to Alex Jones' website once in a while to laugh at him talking about the lizard people. All right. And posting a couple tweets here and there. How many of you do that? How many times have I done that? We all, according to them, apparently deserve to die. And the police officers that kill people in the name of the left get off scot-free. That's a big problem. That's two different legal systems. All right. And the way you've seen this country heading, we're splitting everywhere. Legal systems, economies, money, everything. Everything. All right. It's going to get worse before it gets better. People will eventually stand up. People will eventually open their mouths. People will eventually say enough is enough. But the pattern in this country is the same every time. When we get too fat and happy, it takes a long time. It takes suffering. So unfortunately, in my opinion, we're going to suffer some more before people realize that it's time to wake up and say enough is enough. All right. We get it. But you've gone too far. All right. Equality is one thing. Equity is another thing. All right. And if you're going to play this game where you pretend unity, all right, but unity only counts if it's unity your way, you're not going to get very far with anybody, whether that's your intention or not. All right. So at the end of the day, we have a very big problem in this country. It's a very serious problem. It's a very serious problem that needs to be addressed, and people on the right need to come together and pressure. All right. They need to pressure their local people. All right. Look, states can get together in a convention of states and pass legislation just like Congress. There's all kinds of things that can be done. All right. Local members of your government can press the federal government for things. All right. If enough people scream from the rooftop, things will happen. Things will happen. So I know we're going through a hard time right now. I know things seem dark. I know things seem hopeless for a lot of people, but just hang tough. All right. Stick with me. We're all in this together. We all have kids. We all have families. We're all trying very hard to make the best decisions, do the best things we can without things escalating and things getting all crazy. We want everybody to just get along, figure their crap out, and put all this stuff behind us. We really want that. Everybody wants that. But unfortunately, you have a power-hungry regime of elites on the left, some on the right, some around the globe, that literally make a living manipulating the weak-minded. All right. And in a world, in a country, in a universe where one sentence has more impact than research and reading, you know, you've got big tech companies with algorithms programmed to manipulate people based upon that one sentence they read. And they feed them custom one sentences to get them to do their bidding. I mean, these are things that are proven facts. They're proven facts. None of this is made up. We all know it. We all know that algorithms control what you are shown advertising-wise, news-wise, what you're shown on YouTube, what you're shown on Facebook, everything. Your entire social media experience is customized to manipulate. And the weak among us get manipulated, and the strong and smart among us get exiled. It's time for us to return from exile, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for us to stand on the walls and scream at the top of our lungs. This is our country, ladies and gentlemen, and we can take it back by outsmarting them, plain and simple. All right? So I want you to at least understand that there are genuine splits occurring across this country. I want you to take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your business, and make the best decisions possible for your life and for your family. But you can't do that without being armed with the information. All right. I hope that if you didn't have time to read that article and my delivery gave it to you in a more entertaining and easy to digest fashion while you were driving or while you were, on the can or whatever you were doing, multitasking, so you didn't have to take care of it. I hope you got educated from this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you feel more empowered to be able to take on the forces of the left. All right. You can't win unless you're righteous, unless you're moral, and you can't be right, righteous, and moral without knowing the facts, ladies and gentlemen. The facts are the facts, and these are the facts, Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. If you really enjoyed this episode, you like what I'm doing, head to the description section below or go to www.americanreveille.com, hit the donate tab, hit the support us tab. Please donate to the American Reveille. We will gladly take your dollars and use them to expand our operation and wake more patriots up. That's what I want to do with your money. I don't want to put it in my pocket. I don't want to eat steak dinners. I want to spread the word, and we can't get past that censorship wall without money, and we can't do that without you. Thank you guys so much. Remember to check out the 2 or 3 minute ad after the show for Ancient Life Oil, ancientlifeoil.com. That's promo code James, free shipping and handling. Promo code James, free shipping and handling from ancientlifeoil.com. Prime time, best in the business, amazing, amazing CBD. You won't find a more pure product anywhere else. And of course, if you're on Gab, please follow me at American_Reveille. If you're on Parler, at the James Lane. I'm on Odyssey. I'm on Rumble. I am on YouTube. I'm all over, American_Reveille. Of course, just go in the description section below and click all my social medias, all that stuff. Follow me everywhere. And of course, sign up for the newsletter to get the latest every Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. It comes out around that time and let you recap, let you know what you missed throughout the week. And of course, you'll need that to know when the $200 sticker competition starts. All right, guys. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in episode 125. Bye. Let me get your attention for a second. I want to tell you about something. I want to share something with you that's very near and dear to me. All right, guys. I have joint pain. I'm sure it's no secret by now, all right? I have joint pain, hip pain, I have elbow pain, I have inflammation, all right? I get stressed out. I'm going through so much political news doing this podcast, so much. You can imagine how stressful that is, all right? How much anxiety that can cause, how many sleepless nights I have. But folks, I've been taking CBD oil for a while now, all right, for a while now, and it's fantastic. And a while ago, just a little while ago, I came across Ancient Life Oil, all right, and I got it from ancientlifeoil.com, and this stuff is fantastic, all right. It's the best source, the best and most trusted source for CBD oil in the United States. It's 100% pure, it's 100% THC free, no psychoactive effects, no high, nothing like that, just pure CBD, pure relief from all of those issues, relief from sleeplessness, relief from anxiety, relief from stress, from inflammation, right? Relief from joint pain, relief from all of these things that could really hinder your daily life, your daily activities, really put you in a bad place. This stuff lifts your mood up. It's fantastic. All right, it's legal in all 50 states. People are really experiencing wonderful change in their life, basically doing something that people have been doing for thousands of years, guys. If you head to ancientlifeoil.com, the same place I went, all right, the same place I went to get the stuff, you can go on there, use promo code James, JAMES, at ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, Life Oil, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James, JAMES, promo code James. Free shipping and delivery, folks. Free shipping and delivery. Guys, this is a great product. You are missing out if you need to do CBD and you're just not doing it for some reason, guys. I don't know what's stopping you anymore. It's 2021. Folks, if you want relief from these issues, you want to do it in a natural way without taking medications, you want to do it in a way that's helpful, I have found CBD oil to be very beneficial, and I believe it will be very beneficial for you as well. So one more time, ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James